Hi, everybody. Let's talk a little bit about how we want to develop meaningful mentoring partnerships as we're supporting students with intellectual disabilities on a college campus. Now, when we're talking about mentoring partnerships, we're talking about a relationship between two people, one with learning difference and one perhaps without. Let's look at the different characteristics involved in mentoring. First, the relationship should be voluntary. Nobody should force you to do it. You should want to have a mentoring partner and want to be in this relationship. It should be a reciprocal relationship, meaning that both parties gain from the experience and both people want to be there. They want to have an opportunity to get to know this other person. Parity is a word that we use to describe equality. So no one person has the upper hand, no one person has authority. It truly is an equal relationship. The last characteristic is the understanding that developing a mentoring partnership is an emergent process. So the friendship, just as with any friendship, it doesn't happen instantaneously, but will develop over time. A supportive mentoring partner always keeps their promises, always maintains confidentiality, provides support to their mentoring partner based on what she or he needs, and values the other as a friend. Now, let's think about mentoring partners that don't have disabilities. You thought that's who I was talking to? Well, why did you have that assumption? Of course, both mentoring partners have the same sets of responsibilities. People with and without disabilities have to keep their promises. You have to uh, be where you say you're going to be and to be dependable and to be there and to do what you say that you're going to do, whether or not you have a disability. Both mentoring partners have to maintain confidentiality. So if someone tells you something in private, you want to keep that private and not go off and tell other folks about the story that that person told about their lives. The only time when you would want to breach confidentiality is if the person talks about harming themselves or harming others, or they disclose some form of abuse that's occurred. And again, that's for either partner. If a person without a disability discloses any one of those things, they're talking about hurting themselves or talking about disclosing the fact that they had experienced an abusive situation, then the person with a disability would be expected to tell someone about that situation, and vice versa. Both mentoring partners provide support to each other based on what each other needs. And that could be academic support, so they're studying together and helping each other study for tests and quizzes. It might be emotional support. If somebody's really having a bad day, the other person consoles with them and affirms their feelings. Or it might just be providing fun and a little bit of levity or humor to the situation. Again, that comes from either party. And both parties would be expected to value the other one as a friend, or at least an emergent friend, someone you're wanting to get to know. Now let's go back to that a slide, 2 slides ago, where you may have assumed that when we talked about the characteristics of mentoring partnerships, we were only talking to the person without a disability. And we have to ask ourselves, where do these assumptions and stereotypes come from? Why is it that we would assume that we'd only be providing instruction and support for mentoring for the person who doesn't have a disability? One of the things that we want to make sure that we don't fall in the trap of is assuming that someone with an intellectual disability is incompetent. We want to dispel these notions of incompetence because individuals with intellectual disabilities can learn and do learn when challenged and given opportunities. We just have to open up those opportunities through inclusive experiences. When people talk about someone having a developmental delay or mental retardation, They're often trying to convey the understanding that the person might need more time or might need more support or repetition or a different type of instruction in order to learn. But that doesn't mean the person can't learn, that they're not able. And even though we use the word disability, and technically, yes, the term means it is an antithesis or an opposite of ability. It's in binary opposition to the term ability. Don't let the word disability fool you or cloud your recognition that the student that you may be partnering with does have ability and competence and can achieve great things. As you guys get to know your mentoring partners, you want to take some time to ask about their goals, their interests, and strengths. You want to pay attention to the types of interactions they have with other people to see how comfortable they are in different kinds of environments. And you want to observe what makes the other person happy or excited. And again, this is for either mentor, whether you're the person with a disability or the person without. Compare what you've observed about the individual you're partnering with and compare their goals with your goals. Compare their interests with yours. Compare their strengths with your strengths and your interactions with their interactions. And then, lastly, really, and most importantly, look at the things that make you happy. And are they similar and are they different? And of course, as individuals, we're going to have some differences, but spend some time reflecting on your process for getting to where you are here on this college campus and their process for getting to where they are on a college campus, and look for what those aspirations might be and try to find some similarities among them. Most importantly, absolutely most importantly, you want to prioritize fun, because when fun happens, that's when humor develops, and that's when we start to see what the other person can contribute to society, to relationships, and to us. Fun is where real learning occurs. You want to make sure that you demonstrate value. Don't just talk about it, but how do you demonstrate it? How do you show that you recognize the personhood of the individual with whom you're mentoring and the contributions that that person is making to your life and to the life of others, and even to the college community? Ask yourself how you're contributing to the world. So if you spend some time thinking about how that person contributes to the world, how their presence and being makes a difference, then ask yourself the same for you. How do you contribute? What meaning do you bring to the world? And recognize that that meaning is going to develop over time and maybe even perhaps through this mentoring partnership. Don't assume that you're the person on the top of the mountain with your hand reaching down. You might be the person climbing the mountain with your mentoring partner reaching down to you. A mentoring partnership is a mutual relationship, and it often develops into a friendship. No one can dictate that or expect that, but it often truly does. Now, you might want to know what to do if you don't get along with your mentoring partner, and sometimes that does happen because not everybody's interests are the same or values are the same. So first thing you want to do is identify the barriers to communication that might be occurring and what seems to be getting in the way of the friendship. And is it a time factor? Is it a communication factor? Is it dissimilar interests? And talk to your mentoring partner about it. Don't just assume all is lost. Maybe there's a way for you guys to figure out how to make this work. And then, most importantly, ask yourself how you would handle this if the person did not have a disability. What happens when you're not getting along with your other friends, and what do you say and what do you do, and how do you approach the situation? And maybe take some guidance from some of those past experiences. Of course, when in doubt, always ask for help. There are people on the college campus, the people that are providing this mentoring training for you, who can help you think through and problem solve some of those situations. Anything that might come up, whether it's about how to support the person academically, how best to support the person socially and emotionally, how best to help foster career goals, and just how to be a better friend. Just remember that in a mentoring partnership, everyone is expected to gain from the experience. And as Phil Collins said, in learning you will teach, and in teaching you will learn.